It's locked. Good evening, Avery.
Mr. Jonathan, I can't believe my own eyes. Oh, you have come back too late, sir. Far too late.
I know, Avery. I know.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right, Avery.
The police said her body was found near your sister's grave in Whitechapel. You're the master of the house now.
What is the situation in the...
For a time, the West End seemed spared by the epidemic. But the situation is getting much worse.
Have you no relatives anywhere? I'll understand if you want to take a few days to see...
Your father managed to guarantee my earnings as long as I...
How was life in this house while I was away?
It was sad, sir. Miss Mary moved here in July after she lost her baby and husband. So I stayed to serve both her and your...
How was my mother?
Miss Reed was very frail. After Miss Mary was found dead, your mother started talking to herself.
How was Mary?
Miss Mary went out looking for you every night after you had written to say that you were coming back. She was sure you were alive. She'll never know she...
I'm sorry I could not be here.
Your mother was strong, sir, but your support would have been appreciated. Apart from the priest and I...
To be present at the funeral with you both was my dearest wish, Avery. But I'm sorry,
I would not dare to question your absence, Mr. Jonathan. All I can say is that we missed...
What are the arrangements for my mother's funeral?
There will be no funeral, sir. No ceremony whatsoever, because of the sanitary situation.
Where is her body?
I'm afraid your mother's body was moved to a mass grave somewhere. I have no other information. Civil service is paralyzed, sir. And London is
Tell me the truth, Avery. Do you feel forced to stay here? Would you leave this house without the arrangement made by my father?
No, sir. I have nowhere else to go. And I promised your father I'd take care of...
This house is dead, Avery. There is a curse on this family. You really should consider leaving.
If only you could have been here sooner or more often. Maybe this house would not be that empty. But you're here now, sir. So my task is not over.
You have served this family extremely well, Avery. Your support during these terrible times is much appreciated.
Then I will stay. All I ask is that you take care of my own funeral if I die before the end of the epidemic.
Do you really think I neglected my...
Yes.
I see. Well, please go on. Speak freely. It's not as if there is anything left.
Just like your father. You always had this capacity.
Thank you, Avery.
Your bedroom is ready as always. Good night, sir. Oh. Yes, sir.
Do you need medical attention?
I won't refuse, sir.
Here is your prescription.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your bedroom is ready. Who could have done such an evil thing? Poor Miss Reed.
I remember Sunday walks in the park. Good evening, sir. Please forgive me for disturbing you. I'm a doctor.
I never judge a man by his title, but by his attitude. And you are not disturbing me at all. I am Calhoun Russell, and I welcome you.
Well, I must admit it's good to receive a warm welcome for once. I'm Jonathan Reid.
Welcome, Dr. Reid. Welcome.
How is the situation?
Life is good and peaceful. We're lucky to live in such an era of progress and one...
Are you not concerned?
Oh, I'm sure the authorities would take the appropriate measure if the danger were that high.
You cannot expect the newspapers to expose the...
Well, that's news then. But...
Is it not a little too...
On the contrary, it is the perfect hour. Believe me, my friend, it is always at night that you meet the most...
But what about the epidemic? The bombs and raids? And all the random...
Please, sir, this is London, England. We will prevail. And if a bomb must fall on my shop...
So you prefer...
Oh, I also enjoy a sunny day like everybody else. But the night always has a certain je ne sais quoi of its own.
What can you tell me about this place?
I recently found the best steak and kidney pie in this...
Finding a good restaurant?
Oh, I have many passions, but nothing brings me ecstasy like subtle and exquisite flavors from my...
I must confess, I have quite
Really? Well, I'm always happy to try new exotic meals. If you ever find an intriguing table, please share it.
Do you have any family?
Not since my parents died.
Really? But you seem to be such a pleasant and sociable...
I'm afraid the real hedonist has to be sometimes. I discovered ecstasy as a solitary pleasure, but it does not mean it can't ever be
London's lone gourmet.
I used that name in my early years when I was a food critic, and I kept it.
Goodbye, Mr. Russell. Hello? Is anyone there?
Jonathan, is that you? I did not know you were back in London. Oh, my dear Johnny. I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Venus. May I come in?
I was going to bed, actually.
Forgive me. With the epidemic, I tend to forget people are supposed to sleep.
I'll tell you what. Come back tomorrow for tea.
Good evening, sir. May I...
Come on, Johnny. Don't you...
Clarence. Clarence Crossley. How are you? My God. So you survived the war too. So sorry I didn't recognize...
I almost didn't recognize you either. War does that to men, I heard. In my case, it was true, for I witnessed the horror that lies...
When did you escape the war and return?
You know what's funny? I almost never think about the war. Not anymore. I'm involved in another...
I know what you mean. I haven't had much time to think about the war either since my return.
Of course. With the epidemic,
What is this new battle?
I saw terrible things during the war. Horrors I thought I'd forget. They're here too. They're everywhere.
How is your wife?
We've spent so much time away from each other. And so many things have happened.
But you're alive. You returned in one piece and you have a family. How many soldiers can say the same?
Believe me, it's not quite that simple. Unlike you, I'm not the man I used to be.
Is everything all right at home? Surely Venus was relieved to see you return from France in one piece.
Have you forgot what people are like in this part of town, Johnny? Venus fears for our family reputation. Now her husband has become the village idiot.
You need some rest, Clarence.
Women die too in this war. Women of all countries.
stupid newborn! Gotcha! Your prey is mine now! Gotcha! Over there!
Die, vermin! Yeah! Let's pin it down!